Welcome to the Master Essential Oil class and Aromatherapy approach to sciatica and herniated disc pain. I'm so happy to have all of you here with me today, and I want to thank you for making it a priority today to learn about how you can use essential oils for sciatica and herniated disc pain. I'm your master instructor, Lori Hargis, registered aromatherapist, flower essence practitioner, and I'm the master instructor and the owner of the Lori Hargis International School of Aromatherapy. So with my 35 years of experience based on the latest scientific research and ancient teachings, we are doing that through our school, the Lori Hargis International School of Aromatherapy, with essential oils. And today we are going to be showing you some of the things that we learn in our school and how our students, how they learn how to use the Lori method in their work. And so today it's all about essential oils, right? And it's about connecting all the bodies because our students learn that the mental and emotional component are as important as the physical component of their clients. And this helps develop their self-confidence and their knowledge. And you're going to see that through Lynette and Zoe's case studies today. Also, you will notice in our case studies too that our aromatherapist also suggests to their clients other things, other health tips that they give them, or if they see that their client has a problem that they can't help them with, they send them to the right professional. You'll see the two beautiful formulations that Zoe and Lynette have done. Lynette is on sciatica and Zoe's is on a herniated disc. And also you'll hear the stories of their clients and what a difference essential oils made in their lives. It helped them to become active again. It helped them to be able to sleep, to be radiant and giving. And also this information is going to help you help your clients if you're a aromatherapist. How many of you are aromatherapists? Raise your hands. I want to see how many of you are aromatherapists. Okay, great. We've got a few aromatherapists. That's fantastic. If you're not an aromatherapist, don't worry about it because this is for everybody. And we want to make sure that you guys get this information. You'll have the formulations. We will send you the case studies in the PDF files. Once the class is finished, you'll receive an email. So today, you can ask any questions you have at the Q&A at the end. You can book a free 30-minute discovery aromatherapy session. And you also have an opportunity to win my Common Sense book bundle by entering the quiz. Now, if you are in Europe, Canada, Mexico, anywhere outside the US, we will send you the information, my book bundle, in a PDF file. So just make sure that you participate in the quiz. We only have 7 questions, so it'll be easy peasy for you today. And by participating, everyone who participates gets a chance then to win an aromatherapy session with me, which is 1 hour, 30 minutes, and it's a $300 value. So we can't wait to pick the winner for that today. All right, so make sure that you write your answers in the chat, okay? Also, another thing that I need to tell you is in the material box, we have a link to the video that we're going to be watching today too. And also we have a link there to all our upcoming events and programs. So make sure that you look in the material box, and the material box is right where you see those 3 little dots where it says more, okay? So how many of you have sciatica? Raise your hands. I want to see how many of you have sciatica. Oh, wow, quite a few of you. That's a fourth of the class. That's a lot. Okay. And how many of you have someone in your family who has it? Okay, quite a few, the same amount. It's incredible, isn't it? I mean, sciatica, how it affects so many people. And how many of you have been using essential oils on it? Okay, quite a few of you have. Fantastic. So it'll be great when you see Lynette's formulation that she used, and it'll give you some other ideas if you haven't, and you can try her formulation too. Super. Now, how many of you have a herniated disc? Raise your hand. Okay, we've got some there too. Not as many. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Not as many. Um, and how many of you are using essential oils for it? Raise your hand. Wonderful. And it looks like we have a bunch of new people on here today. So if you want to put it in the chat, please make sure you stick it in the chat and everybody put where they're from. So that way we can all see where everybody's from. I'd love to see that so we can see how many countries, how many states. So please do that. And how many of you today are ready to use essential oils for sciatica and herniated disc pain? Raise your hands. I am for sure ready for this. I don't have it, but I have family members that do. So I was very excited to present this to you because I think it's so important. We know that 4 out of 10, that's 40% of the population in the world, will one day or another have sciatica. Now, I was traveling a lot right before I had my youngest daughter, Zoe. So that from 1998 to 2002 till she was born, I was traveling every single month. I was going to a different state, and I lived in the state of California at that time. And then I was going to France too at the same time. I was going back and forth. So I was doing all this traveling, and I was moving and grooving clear till I was 7 months pregnant with my youngest daughter, Zoe. And I had sciatica. And I remember sitting on the plane, and I would have to, flex my ankle up, my foot up, right? So that way it would relieve the pain. And I was always carrying peppermint essential oil with me because of it and spraying it on it, and it really did help. Now I got through it and I've never had sciatica again. So but we'll see today what Zoe did for her client with a herniated disc and what Lynette did. So today you'll learn what is the sciatic nerve, what is sciatica, what causes sciatica, how does a lower back herniated disc manifest, and what is a lower back herniated disc, because you can have herniated disc all through the spine, but today we're just talking about the lower back and how it connects to sciatica. Okay, what causes the herniated disc? What are the common denominators between sciatica and herniated disc? What is an essential oil? How can essential oils help with pain? And safety of essential oils, why it's important to take health history when suffering from pain, and how can essential oils support you when suffering from sciatica and herniated disc? We'll have a case study by Lynette, who is a registered aromatherapist, naturopathic doctor, pharmacist, a certified natural health practitioner, and master herbalist. The use of essential oils to relieve sciatica pain for better sleep. And a case study by Zoe Pichot, registered aromatherapist and master herbalist, treating a herniated disc with essential oils. So what is sciatica? What is the sciatica nerve? The sciatica nerve, as we see here in this diagram, is the largest nerve in your body. It's also the major nerve in your leg, and we see it here. It's made of 5 nerves that are located at the right and left sides of our lower spine. And each nerve exits the spine between 2 vertebral segments. L5 nerve root X between lumbar segments 4 and 5, and the S1 nerve root exits between L5 and sacral segment 1. Now, S2 and S3 nerves, on the other hand, are the ones that emerge from the sacral forum, all right? So a lot of people, they'll get it pinched in between L5, or it will come from S1. My husband's was L5, and my father was S1 through the sacral segment 1 and 5, L5. So you can see how we have it differently. The sciatic nerve is composed of 5 nerves that are grouped at the front of your piriformis muscle. It allows the muscles in your legs to move so you can walk and run and even stand. Now, I have seen my husband where we were sitting in a restaurant and we left the restaurant and all of a sudden his leg gave out from under him, and my daughter and I were underneath both arms. And it was his sciatica, right? And it was the sciatic nerve was pinched, and that was very painful. So the sciatic nerve also helps you to feel the sensation in your legs. So what is sciatica? According to Davis, sciatica represents a debilitating condition characterized by pain within the sciatic nerve distribution, as we see here. And look at this. We can see the nerve, and we also see the 5 nerves roots coming into the sciatic, right? And going down through the ankle and then to the toes. So my brother-in-law is a physical therapist, and he said you can tell when someone has sciatica too by just looking at the way their toes are, which I thought was very interesting. So a lot of times what happens is low back pain or pain radiating from the foot of the spinal nerve causing leg pain. People always think it's sciatica. And so this is something I want you guys to be aware of. I want you guys to realize that if you are having shooting pain going down your leg or tingling or not feeling, it could be the opposite. It could be that you have a herniated disc causing the sciatica, okay? So just make sure, we're going to talk about that later, but just make sure that when you have this kind of pain, and if it continues and you're also it's really in your back, that you have your doctor check it. So this so if we look at this, the sciatic nerve is in a diameter of about 2 centimeters, and as I said before, it's the body's largest nerve. Pain associated with sciatica is exuberated by the lumbar spine by twisting or bending or even coughing. And according to the Cleveland Clinic, sciatica happens when irritation, inflammation, pinching, or compression affects one or more nerves that run down your lower back into your leg, which is normally the sciatic nerve. And you guys can check out this information here from the references. So again, sciatica pain will affect 4 out of 10 people in the US sometimes in their life. So that means 40% of people will suffer from sciatica. So this is why this is so important. You guys can really help your clients or help your family or yourself or your friends with this information. So what are the common causes of sciatica? Diabetes, because as we know, diabetics have a lot of inflammation. When we're overweight, it also makes more inflammation in the body. Smoking and certain occupations, truck drivers and heavy equipment operators and people who sit at a desk job, they have more inclination to have sciatica than other people that are moving in their jobs. A herniated disc can cause it. Degenerative disc disease, spinal stenosis, foraminal stenosis, and spondylolisthesis, osteoarthritis, injuries, and pregnancy. Now, in my first marriage, my husband was a farmer and a massage therapist. So we had a lot of people coming into our office, and we had a lot of pregnant women who would come in. And at the end of the pregnancy, a few of them had sciatica. And with massage, we weren't using any essential oils on. We were using carrier oils like calophyllum, St. John's wort, macerated oil, arnica macerated oil, and a combination of those three together. And he was doing deep tissue massage on them, and they would get better and they would deliver easily. So also remember that you can use carrier oils and massage with pregnant women and have good results. So how does a low back herniated disc manifest? Well, you have 5 lumbar vertebrae in your lower back of your spine, okay? And so as we age, the intervertebral disc may lose fluid and become dried out. So this is why smoking can really affect our spine, okay? It can really affect it because smoking dehydrates us. Alcohol also dehydrates you. So think about the things that you can do for yourself to keep hydrated, like plenty of fruits, plenty of vegetables, and that means cooked or raw vegetables. That means eating vegetable soups or, bone broth, things like this that keep you hydrated. And also make sure that you're taking, your vitamin D, your vitamin E, and your essential fatty acids to lubricate those joints, okay? And as this happens, the spongy disc located between the vertebrae parts of the spine acts as a shock absorber. So it's like when you have your shocks on your car, right? And so when the shocks wear out, right? It's a bad ride in the car, isn't it? And that's what happens to your spine. It can become compressed and it can lead to the breakdown of the outer ring and the nucleus pulpus, or the inside of the ring. So it's right here as you see, okay? And then it starts to bulge out, okay? And so now you've got a bulging disc. It's not herniated yet, but it's bulging. A herniated disc occurs when the disc starts to break down due to prolonged stress on the spine, causing the inner nucleus to herniate, and the herniated disc fragmented material can press on the nerve roots behind the disc space, leading to pain, weakness, numbness, and changes in sensation. So as we see here, this is the herniated disc, right? And we can see here's a normal disc, and then here you've seen how it is, then we've got a compressed nerve here because the herniated disc is pushing on it. And this is when we get the sciatica too with it. So how many of you guys can see your material box? Raise your hands. Okay, great. So make sure that you see your material box. And Zoe did come on. I had put in the chat. She hasn't been feeling well, but she decided to come on. And it's in the material box. If you have 3 little dots where it says more on like the top of your screen, or it could be on the bottom. It depends on what kind of computer you have. Click that, and in there is a link to this YouTube channel, okay? So I'm going to give you 3 minutes to go to that YouTube channel, and you're going to watch this. This is a chiropractor, and she's going to give you a view of a slip disc, a herniated disc, okay? So click that. I'm going to put the timer on now, so that way you can, and then come back in 3 minutes. Now Zoe's trying to share the video, you guys, but I don't know on my side, my connection's so bad that I can't see it. Maybe you guys can. Okay, Zoe, could you stop sharing your video now because it's not working on my side for some reason. Thank you. Okay, so let's see if how many of you guys were able to watch the video? Raise your hands. Oh, fantastic. A few of you guys got to. Great. Well, if you didn't get to watch it, then you can watch it later because we'll send you the slides. You'll have the link. But it's really good the way she explains it and she shows it on the spine, what is a lower back herniated disc. Now, remember, you might want to take some pictures of the slides so that way you can be in the quiz and have the answers or write them down with your pen and paper. So what are the signs, symptoms of a lower back herniated disc? Spasms of the back muscles, sciatica. This is pain that starts near the back or the buttocks and travels down the leg to the calf or into the foot. Numbness in the leg or the foot, muscle weakness in the legs, decreased reflexes at the knee or ankle. So how many of you guys have any of those symptoms or signs? Raise your hand.
Hi, Lori. The slides, we can't see them anymore. If you could please share them again,
Oh, I'm
since I was
sorry.
sharing.
Okay, let me
Thank
fix
you.
it. It was from the video thing. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate it. So yeah, these are the signs and the symptoms of lower back herniated disc, spasms of the back. And it looks like quite a few got quite a few. I would say about 30% of the class said that you have some of these signs or symptoms. So this is a great class for you to be in right now. So what are the causes of lower back herniated disc? Age, as we talked about, sometimes that can dry out in between there, huh? And then you get a bulging disc, and then you get a herniated disc. Smoking. Smoking, again, dehydration. It takes the calcium out of your body. It destroys all your antioxidants. And so smoking is something that can really damage the spine. Occupation, where you're lifting a lot of things. Or you could even be in the garden and you accidentally lift something wrong, and then you get a herniated disc. Not sitting in a good posture as this man is here. And today, as I was finishing up this presentation, I kept making sure I was sitting back, It's like, oh my goodness, Lori. Because we all have a tendency to go forward, especially now with computers. People don't sit in chairs much, good chairs. A lot of times they sit them on their laps and they're slouched forward. And as this guy here is, he's on his cell phone and everybody's got their head down in their cell phone, which really causes a lot of back problems, as we see here. What happens too is then the core of the body, the muscles in the stomach here, they become weak when we have poor posture like this. So it's really important that you check yourself daily for your posture. Not moving. I get up and you got to move. It's just like when today I had time, I went for a walk. I did my yoga this morning because I knew I was going to be in this chair a lot. And I was in this chair this weekend a lot. So, you've got to move. You've got to move. If you just start off just doing a walk in your house or just going around in your garden, but you've got to move. If you're overweight, so do your best to work on your metabolism and find a dietitian or a good nutritionist to help you with that. An accident. My oldest daughter was going through a light, and a guy who was making a left turned right in front of her, and he was going. She wasn't going that fast. He was going really fast because he was trying to cross it in front of her, and it caused her to have a herniated disc in her back. And through essential oils and acupuncture and chiropractic, she has gotten through it. And she's a hairdresser, so she's standing on her feet every single day. So it was painful, and she lived with a heating pad and essential oils every single night. And I'll talk about one of them that she used on a regular basis every day. So, let's look at what are the common denominators of sciatica and a herniated disc. Herniated disc, a lot of the time, can cause sciatica. All right. So, usually, if you have a herniated disc, they go hand in hand. So, always make sure that your health practitioner checks your back for a herniated disc and sends you for testing if necessary. He says, oh, you just got sciatica like that to you, a little 5-minute visit. Make sure that he checks your back, okay? And also, see if you can have some physical therapy too. Even if you have sciatica, there's certain exercises that you can do to help you get through it and certain stretches. So, if you don't know what that is, have him send you to a physical therapist. Be proactive. Let's not let it go into a herniated disc or into worse problems. Take good care of yourself. So what are the effects of sciatica and a herniated disc pain? It puts stress on the body. So when you have more stress on your body, what it does is then your adrenals send off more cortisol, don't they? And so your adrenaline is pumping, you're more stressed, you have more inflammation in your body because of it. Nerve impulses are deadened, thus leading to chronic back and digestive problems. So you're probably saying, well, how could this affect my digestive system? Well, all these nerves here in your lower back, in the lower lumbar area here, they go to your digestive organs. They go to your liver. They go to your gallbladder. They go to your large intestine, to your small intestine. So when these get compressed here, and if you look at somebody, if we go back to our picture here, of this guy here. Look how his gut's out in front, right? So he is very compressed here. So he's putting pressure on his liver, his gallbladder, his pancreas, his spleen, his small intestine, and his large intestine. So this makes it more difficult to evacuate, to eliminate your feces. Okay, and it also can affect the kidneys too, and your urination. So let's, make sure that we're taking good care of ourselves. If we start having these problems, let's be proactive and do something about it immediately. Start using your essential oils and get other kinds of help: massage, acupuncture, chiropractic. Now, also what can happen is you have mood changes because you're feeling anxious and worried if you are going to recover. It's a normal thing to think about, especially if you have to sit and you can only move a little bit when it first happens, or you're concerned that you have to be in surgery. And so you can be anxious and worried. But this is where your essential oils come in, don't they? Because you can snip them directly out of the bottle, the ones that are calming to you. You can do compresses with them, castor oil packs. There's many things you can do with the essential. We can't talk about that all today, but we'll have a bigger master class on this so that way you guys can learn really how to do applications for this and for just pain. How many of you guys would like to do that? Raise your hands. That sounds like something you'd be interested in. Okay, fantastic. All right, so we also found a study on mice where mice had sciatica. They had induced them and made them have sciatica. And what they found is their social skills went down. They started isolating themselves because they weren't able to move like they normally could, right? And it led them to they acted more depressed. So this can lead to anxiety and depression. And think about all the beautiful essential oils we have for anxiety and depression. We've got lavender, we've got bergamot, we've got neroli, right? We've got a lot of beautiful essential oils for that. So what is an essential oil? Essential oils are from the inside of roots such as ginger and vetiver seeds like cardamom and parsley. And also, let's not forget ginger, the root ginger, because we're going to be talking a little bit about ginger today, and Zoe will be too in her case study. Seeds, cardamom, parsley, plants, lavender, thyme, grasses, lemongrass, citronella, flowers, neroli, rose, jasmine, resins, frankincense and myrrh, woods, sandalwood, cedarwood, trees, pine, ravensara, eucalyptus, and fruits. We have orange and we have lemon and we have bergamot, right? And each essential oil has different chemical constituents. And that's what we need to realize is the chemical constituents in essential oils are what make them antiviral, anti-infectious, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, soothing, cooling, stimulating, energizing, uplifting, and analgesic. And today we're going to be talking about the anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, soothing, cooling, stimulating, and analgesic properties. Now, if you're feeling depressed, you're going to need the energizing, right, or the calming aspect of them. Now, these healing energies are used in the practice of aromatherapy, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And here is Zoe and I. She is our youngest, and Zoe is a registered aromatherapist, and she'll be doing, and I don't know if she'll feel like doing a presentation, but I will do it for her if she's not able to do it today. So thank you, Zoe, for making it and helping me out. Now let's look at how do essential oils work on pain. Essential oils have been shown to limit the production of inflammation mediators and reduce the activation of pain receptors through anti-inflammatory action. For instance, wintergreen and eucalyptus citrodora essential oils demonstrate these properties. When I had my laboratory, we were making a lot of products that were for sports. We made balms, we made massage oils, things like that. And we used a lot of eucalyptus citrodora because of this anti-inflammatory action that it had. We only had one product with wintergreen in it, but we did have quite a few products with eucalyptus citrodora. Now, the molecules present in essential oils are capable of either desensitizing pain receptors, okay, so it means it desensitizes it so you don't feel it, providing an anesthetic effect, okay? And peppermint, rosemary, and you've got rosemary 1.8 phenol, rosemary camphor, clove, cinnamon, oregano, you've got thyme linalool, thyme thymol, and you've also those are just really great. And then we have ginger and German chamomile. Additionally, essential oils high in 1.8 phenol, such as ravensara, eucalyptus radiata, and eucalyptus globulus, have been found to have similar effects. Now, this reference is a newer book that was put out in France and is The Physiology of Essential Oils. It's a great book. If you can ever get it and just take the information out of it and just put it in Google Translate, and you will find some really fantastic information in there on the physiology with essential oils. And how do essential oils exert anti-inflammatory activity? Now, essential oils exert anti-inflammatory activity via the TLR signaling pathways. So what is a TLR, And what does that mean? TLRs are a type of one transmembrane receptor, a protein receptor widely distributed throughout our immune cells. So this is why essential oils are so wonderful, because as we know, they work on our immune system, don't they? They build our immune system. They help us so that way we can get rid of viruses and bacterias and funguses and things like that. And with viruses, they penetrate a virus. Other medication doesn't do that, but essential oils can penetrate a virus. So this is why even sometimes we can have nerve problems due to viruses, like think about shingles and the pain you can get from shingles, right? So, and the nucleic acids and lipids on pathogens, they're synthetic intermediates and metabolites. They also regulate the activity of monocytes, macrophages, and activate inflammatory responses. Okay? So they regulate all that, essential oils do, through this TLR signaling pathways. And that's where they send out that anti-inflammatory activity. So this is something that is very important to understand about how they exert anti-inflammatory activity. So we're going to look at the chemical families. We're going to briefly go through them. This is not a chemistry class. This is just to give you some ideas of the reasons why Lynette and Zoe used the essential oils that they did. So the first family we're looking at is the phenols. So they're anti-inflammatory, and we're just going to look at what they're for the disc pain. But as we see, they're antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral, antiseptic, anti-inflammatory, and they stimulate the immune system, and they're great for pain. So one, and I think it's Zoe's case study, she uses clove. And clove and cinnamon have a chemical constituent in them called eugenol. And cinnamon has 85% eugenol and clove has 73 to 88%. Now, the known benefits of eugenol are it's an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, they're analgesic, and eugenol is also a neuroprotector. So it's fantastic for sciatica, for a herniated disc, right? And it relieves the pain. So as we know, clove's been used for a very long time in all kinds of dental work. However, we can use it also in pain formulations in very small amounts though. So let's look at terpenes. Now, terpenes are in almost all essential oils. And these essential oils here that we're looking at are monoterpenes. And they help fight against pain and inflammation. And today, Zoe has lemon in her formulation, and Lynette has black pepper in hers. Okay? And they'll tell you all about the reason why they have them in their formulations. But this is just to give you, just to start you out so you can see, how our students learn, and also the reason why they have these essential oils in their formulations. Now we're going to go on to aldehydes. Aldehydes stimulate the circulation, they're calming to the nervous system, and they are anti-inflammatory. And as I spoke about before, Eucalyptus citrodora is a wonderful one to use in sports medicine massage, especially after someone's been exercising a lot that way, or before they start going, to get them going, right? And lemongrass can be used too. It works, they both work very well. They stimulate the circulation and the lymphatic system also. And plus, They're very calming to the nervous system. So if people like more of a lemony aspect, a lemony smell to their formulations, this is a nice one to add to your formulations. And now let's look at the ketones and how ketones can help support sciatica and herniated disc pain. Ketones are phenomenal antioxidants. I mean, rosemary is known as an antioxidant, isn't it? And it's in the ketone family. And they also help to protect your cells against free radicals. That's what an antioxidant does, which may play a role in pain management. So if we are highly stressed, we are going to have more free radicals in our bloodstream. This is why it's important that when you do get hurt, that you take plenty of B vitamins, vitamin A, C, D, and use your essential oils to help you with those free radicals. And the one essential oil that has been used and is used by both Lynette and Zoe is helichrysum. Okay, and we're going to talk about it now in our next slide. So helichrysum, in vitro and in vivo studies of helichrysum essential oil have shown that the anti-inflammatory activity of helichrysum italicum can be explained by multiple effects, including inflammatory enzyme inhibition, free radical scavenging activity, and corticoid-like effects. So this is the one too that my oldest daughter, has lived with since she had a wreck, and it's been 3 years. And so she came home every single night and she used helichrysum. She used probably 23 drops of helichrysum to 1 ounce of calophyllum. She massaged that on her lower back, and then she put a heating pad on top of that, is what she did. And then she went to acupuncture once a week and to the chiropractor. And she overcame it. She's now doing Pilates, yoga, all the stuff. And she's doing very, very well. Plus staying on her feet, 5 days a week doing hair. So it works. Helichrysum is fantastic. How many of you guys have used helichrysum? Raise your hands in the class. All right, so it showed a third of the class has used helichrysum. I would suggest it should be like in your first aid kit. We talk about helichrysum and lavender essential oils like being the rescue remedy of essential oils because they are so good. It's also great for shock and trauma. That's why it was so good that she used it immediately. And that's why I bring her like a 30 ml bottle every time I come back to California because of that. And then my grandson takes it with him to Canada because he's on a semi-pro hockey team, and he uses that for any kind of injury. He popped his knee out, and he used it for that. And unfortunately, his knee popped right back in. And so he wasn't on crutches more than like 2 weeks, and then he was back playing. But helichrysum is one of his favorites too. So let's look at esters for sciatica and herniated disc pain. Esters are balancing, soothing, antispasmodic, anti-inflammatory, and antioxidant. I really like to use esters, especially for the emotional aspect of when people have an accident or, they've hurt themselves or just because it just went out or they just got sciatica. Something happened, something triggered it. These are very nice to smell, just to have around and to help you get through the stress of it and the anxiety of being hurt. And so lavender along with helichrysum are the like rescue remedy of essential oils for me. And ylang ylang and a lavender, Roman chamomile, and clary sage are wonderful for you to help you sleep when you have had an accident or you have sciatica or herniated disc pain from an accident or any time. Now, Lynette is going to be talking about spike lavender, and which is in the alcohol family, which is not quite yet. We're not coming up to it. But our next family is the sesquiterpenes. It's anti-inflammatory. They're calming. And the one that Zoe is using for her case study on herniated disc is ginger. So make sure you mark that down, ginger. And it's excellent for muscle cramps due to its antispasmodic properties. It's also our essential oil this month in our health forecast. So if you want to go to our YouTube channel, you can check out it's a wonderful formulation there, and also go to our site where we have resources. Click our blog, and there it is. I give you a formulation with ginger and orange, and there was studies done with ginger and orange on knee problems. And the formulation is the formulation they used in this study. So you can check that out, and you can use it also for sciatica and herniated disc pain too, because ginger is phenomenal. It warms up the area. That's what's great about it, but it's not too hot, right? Also, when you massage it on, it's going to help your digestive system. So if you are on any kind of medication that blocks you up, say you're on pain medication, ginger essential oil can be helpful for that, to help get things moving and grooving and going out of you, right? We just have to make sure we check the CYP 450s. So now let's check out our ether family. Now, ethers, they get you going, what they do. They're antispasmodic for the neural and muscular disorders. They're anti-inflammatory. So when you're feeling weak, you can sniff fennel, you can sniff basil, and tarragon. Those things, and they'll just pop you right out of it. And fennel essential oil also has been found to be comparable to the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory medication, mefenamic acid. So you also could make blends with fennel. Just be careful, do not use if you are an epileptic, okay? So this is something that you can give it a go. I love fennel. It pulled me out of a dark cloud one time, and it was because my mentor, Dr. Patrick Colin, suggested it to me, and I just sniffed it a few times, and I was out of it. I was completely, the dark cloud had went away. So they really do pick you up, those ethers. And let's look at the alcohols now. And Zoe and Lynette used alcohols in their formulation because they're anti-inflammatory, they're stimulating, and they're warming. And Lynette used spike lavender. It's very high in linalool. And sweet thyme is high in linalool also, right? Because this is chemotype linalool. And so they really reduce the inflammation in the body. They're also both very good for when you're feeling depressed, okay? Then peppermint was used by both of them, and peppermint has an alcohol in it called menthol, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard of that, right? And that really if you have a lot of inflammation in the body, it will cool you down immediately. That's what's so fantastic about peppermint. And it can warm you up too. It's kind of like eucalyptus. It's got that, can warm you up and cool you down. So it has this aspect to it. So peppermint's effect on the neuromotor function, and visceral sensation have been studied most extensively. However, more recent data demonstrate its antibacterial, antifungal effects and ability to downregulate inflammation. and potentially affect attention and possibly mood. Well, my husband doesn't exercise one single bit. So it was it was right when Zoe was a baby, and he gets a weed eater, and we lived out on this big domain with all this acreage, and he decides that he's going to go out and weed eat all around the little hills around our house. I was like, okay. He goes out and he does it. And he comes in and he plops down on the bed face forward and just lays there. And I'm like, oh my. So I always at that time had a little bottle and I took some soluble. And soluble is something that you use to solubilize essential oils into water. And I always took a teaspoon of that, put it in the little spray bottle, and then I added 15 drops of peppermint, and I added water to that, stirred it all up really good, and then I would use it as to spray in my mouth when I got off the plane because I was traveling so much. And I sometimes, you get stuck on a plane, you can't get to the bathroom to brush your teeth. And so I would use that. Also, it pick me up and get me going, and my mind would be alert, and I would be ready to rock and roll and meet the people I need to meet, teach the classes I need to teach, and just kind of go on. And it was funny because when I met a therapist who was in one of my classes, she goes, "I swear I know you're just living off essential oils." And I probably really was. I was eating, but they were keeping me going because I was busy. And so I took this, I had this bottle, and I sprayed it all over my husband's back. He went to sleep that night and he woke up and he did not have one single pain in his body. And this is a guy who does absolutely nothing physically. So you can see how peppermint essential oil, how wonderful it is, and what you can do with it very quickly and very easily, and how people can use it for sciatica or a herniated disc. So let's look at this beautiful family of oxides. I love oxides because they stimulate the nervous and circulatory system and they reduce inflammation. And as we stated before, the 1.8 CNol essential oils are very good also to cool you down or warm you up. Eucalyptus globulus is known for that. If you're hot, it cools you down. If you're too cold, it can warm you up. It's very balancing that way. So it's a great one to use in formulations like this, along with rosemary. Rosemary stimulates and also reduces inflammation, but stimulates the nervous system and the circulatory system. So it opens up those pathways there. So that way you can get that nerve, get the area around it relaxed, and then so that way it can reduce the inflammation, and then so that nerve can start flowing, the pinched nerve can reduce so it's not compressed so badly. All right, let's look at the safety. This is very important. Now, this is not a class on safety, but we're going to just go briefly through it. And as you guys know, essential oils are powerful. So 23 drops is an average, depending on the orifice, the size of your dropper. But this is just an average. Per use 23 drops, about 3% per 1 ounce of carrier oil for an adult. And if you have sensitive skin, you cut that in half, 1% to 12 drops. And otherwise, you need to always be checking EFRA. EFRA is where we have all of our information that tells us a certain percentage of what essential oil that we can use in a formulation. Because essential oils contain powerful chemical constituents, and today we've talked about some of them, haven't we? Eugenol, carvacrol, thymol, camphor, we talked about. Eugenol, 1.8 CNol, and menthol is what we've talked about today. So in Europe, we have 26 recognized allergens that can be found in our cosmetics, our perfumes, things like that. 16 of them are found in essential oils. And here in Europe, when we make a product and we sell it, we have to put those on our label. So that way people know that they have a problem with a certain allergy, they know then that they can't use that product. Essential oils must be used carefully. Avoid the eyes and accidental spills on the skin. Flush with olive oil, carrier oil, not water to dilute. Do a patch skin test before use. Keep away from children. Essential oils are not meant to take the place of a qualified medical practitioner. And seek my advice of your registered aromatherapist if unsure. Now, let's look at some more contraindications for pain here. Before using essential oils, please check your contraindications in Tisserand's book, Tisserand and Young, Essential Oil Safety. If you've had a transplant, do not use essential oils due to them stimulating the immune system. Post-surgery, so you go and you have, your herniated disc worked on, and after surgery, you want to make sure that you are well hydrated before spraying that peppermint spray on your back or the massage oil on your back, okay? Anywhere on your body. You have to be hydrated because your body will suck in those essential oils and you could have a headache. And it's happened with our clients. I had a student and her mother went to the hospital, had a surgery, and her aunt thought it was a good idea to put peppermint on her, and she was very dehydrated and she instantly got a headache. So be careful. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate after surgery before using essential oils. With medications, check on all the CYP450s that are located in the pamphlet inside your medication. They play a key role in the metabolism of drugs, okay? And so we want to make sure that your essential oils are not stopping your medication from working or pushing them to work too much. So always check your CYP450s, and all aromatherapists on here, please do that for your clients. Make sure that you check all the CYP450s on the medications of your clients. Now, why is it important to take the health history? It is therefore important when possible not to be interested only in the disappearance of pain, okay? Because it's not a magic, people take pills, and especially in the United States, we have a tendency to take a lot of pills because number one, medical doctors aren't trained to do anything else with you. They're starting, but they're not trained in school to do that. And so just give them a pill because people are lazy. Well, people really aren't lazy. People want to be well and they don't want to have pain and they don't want to have to take pain medication all the time. They usually will, unless they're just totally, oh no, I just want to take the medication, that's fine also. But usually when people come to a aromatherapist, like they came to Zoe and they came to Lynette, they really want help and they want to get better. And that's why it's important, but above all, in its primary cause, by regulating, the pain will disappear by itself. So we want to find the cause if we can. So that's why age, weight, and sex is important. Are they pregnant or lactating? Their family, history, health, diet, what's their normal breakfast, their lunch, and their dinner consist of? Are they allergic to anything? This is super important. How many times are their bowels moving daily? Again, there's that compression, right? You want to make sure those bowels are moving. They don't get all blocked up. And that is a problem with opiates. And you have an answer for them. Opiates cause people to be constipated, severely constipated. It totally destroys their metabolism. So there's so many people hooked on that. And then they get hooked. My mom had a shoulder replacement, and so we were using helichrysum on her, lavender, and of course, big things of ice. She only took her opiates 2 days, and she was off of them. So we know that we've got to not stay on things like that because of the contraindications and then the addiction part. Stress level at work and home, relationships at work and home. Medications, the CYP450s again. If they smoke, they chew, they vape, use recreational drugs and alcohol. People don't understand how bad vaping is and what it's, we're going to see long-term effects pretty soon from it because of what it does to the lungs, the humidity it causes, and then it pushes things down in the lungs. So someone's all those years, all that catarrh is going to get pushed further and deeper down into the lungs. If they're exercising or not, and are they suffering from inflammation and pain daily before this all happened? Okay, that's what's important to know. And where was that inflammation coming from? Were they a diabetic? You know, what was it? All right, so now we are going to put up Miss Lynette's beautiful case study, the use of helichrysum, black pepper, spike lavender, and peppermint to relieve sciatica pain for better sleep. It's a case study done by Lynette Reagan, registered aromatherapist, pharmacist, certified natural health practitioner, master herbalist, and naturopathic doctor. So I'm going to change, I'm going to turn my screen off and put up her case study. And real quick here, let me grab it, Lynette, for you.
I turned my mic on, Lori. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can hear you.
Oh, groovy, groovy, groovy.
Oh, thank you, Lynette, so much for doing this for us, and we appreciate you so much. So I'm going to turn it over to Lynette. Just tell me when to move the page, okay?
Okay. Hi, everybody. Um, because I am a pharmacist, I did a lot of my case studies on pain and dermatology because those are the things that I saw that there was not much help for in my old job. I'm a retired pharmacist now. I retired in October. Um, this was I saw a lot of sciatica, and there's not much out there in the medical world that will help, except opioids, and of course, can't do that. And everybody's cracking down on that anyway. I remember when I was first pharmacist, there was a lot. It was everybody was on Percocet. Everybody was on some kind of opioid if you were like over 60. Um, that has that is not the case anymore. So I'm going to work through this a little quickly because Lori did such a great uh, job of going through and talking about what makes sciatic pain, what makes herniated discs, because they're related, and it may have been related for this client. My client is 63-year-old male, about 6'8", weighing 266 pounds at the time, with a history of sciatica, which flares up for months at a time. He's retired and he has difficulty moving and exercising, and he has arthritis in his hands, back, knees, and ankles. He was overweight. He was about 30 pounds overweight, and he's been a smoker for 40 years. He quit 3 times and relapsed. That is a really, really hard addiction to overcome. Um, he has a history of atrial fibrillation and reflux and hypertension and arthritis. And I think some of this really happened when he was in a car accident um, in 2008, and it caused a major surgery repair to his knees and subsequent knee replacement. His right knee caused him a lot of pain due to ligament issues that had not been resolved by surgery, iontophoresis, which iontophoresis was an interesting concept. It is an electrical stimulation of pushing a drug, done by physical therapists, sometimes done by PAs, to push a drug through the skin into deeper tissue, and that didn't work either. And he had done several physical therapies and acupuncture. He had been on medication, one of them called diclofenac, which is an effective anti-inflammatory. However, it does cause kidney issues, and that did start to happen, so he could not take that. So he was really in a significant amount of pain most days. And when the sciatica flared, um, what made it even worse was that he could not find a good way to lay in the bed or sit in a chair without pain. So there was getting rest was a really, really tough issue. Um, so you can go on moving past the drugs. It's good to take a good intake, diet, drugs. Even if you may not know the drugs, if you're a practitioner, it still is really important to collect all of those and get help with them if you don't know what they are. Um, and also supplements, what supplements the the client was on. Um, he also doesn't exercise. He didn't exercise anymore, and he slept a lot of the afternoon because he wasn't sleeping well at night. And the medications that he was on for pain was also making him tired. So it was really a big catch-22. I'm not going to go through the whole sciatica part because Lori did such a really good job of that, with the exception of saying that most of the time sciatica only seems to happen on one side. Um, not usually both sides. It's and for my client, it was his right side. We had a hard. We tried to have him put pillows in between his legs, pillows in the back, pillow on the front, pillow under the foot, just trying just about anything to ease the pressure on the sciatic nerve. Um, and I'm gonna talk about this in a minute. Sciatic nerve does come from the lower back, spreads to the hips, buttocks, legs. Um, it can be a herniated disc. It can also be a bone spur, and a lot of people have bone spurs because they have calcium deposits that they are not able to digest, and the spur is almost like a little pyramid that doesn't get into the bone but accumulates on top of a bone or on top of a joint or on top of a nerve, and it's like this little pyramid, and it's pointy, and it pinches, and it causes does cause a lot of pain. Again, this can also be acute or chronic, and it can last 2 weeks and resolve itself in a few weeks, but it's fairly common for it to go on and on and on. Lori went over the branches of, and you're probably not, unless your client has been to a doctor and had any kind of nerve studies, you may not know what the branches are. But you can help them find better and certain positions that will help them ease the pain rather than worsen the pain. Um, and if you have somebody in your family that has sciatica, there are new studies out, and I have a little bit, just a very little bit, at the bottom of the one of the pages after talking about sciatica that talks about a transient receptor potential cation channel, which has to do with transmission. And they're looking at that. There's a lot of studies out there looking at that as a possible help in the future for alleviating some of the activation and depletion of the calcium stores that are in the body that maybe are problematic and causing some of the pain in the sciatic area. The essential oils I selected were helichrysum, black pepper, spike lavender, and peppermint. And my formula is in the paper for you to see. I also used 30. I also put these in 30 ml St. John's wort and did it as a roll-on. The client was instructed to, because it was the right buttock, the roll-on was used over the right buttock and apply it down the right thigh where the pain was flowing daily, and twice daily. I had him do it morning and night. And he was also instructed to put it on his heels um, before putting his socks on at night, because he slept in socks, which is interesting. Um, that's a reflect having to do that is helpful on certain reflexology points, which I'm not very studied in, but I did find some help that somebody suggested where to put it on the bottom of the foot. I also had him do ice massages, and we did that. And you can see we did it with frozen water in styrofoam cups, and then you tore the cup away, and it was real easy to hold the styrofoam part and keep the cold ice part um, on the nerve to even massage it with the ice, and that was very helpful, especially if we did a circular massage. The rationale for why I chose what I chose um, is interesting. I love helichrysum. If I was on a, I think if I was on I really like patchouli too, and everybody knows that. But helichrysum is probably the one essential oil. If I was on a island by myself, that's the one that I would want because it's been so helpful. It's analgesic, anti-inflammatory. Um, it contains nerol and nerol acetate, and nerol acetate is actually the biggest part, the biggest chemical part of helichrysum. It's the sesquiterpene gamma curcumin works by de, deleting faulty information by correcting the transcriptase function of DNA replication. It's one of the largest chemotypes, and esters are known, it is an ester, and esters are known for their relaxing and their analgesic effect, which is really needed when you have sciatic pain blockage is your goal, especially if the client is not able to rest. These esters have a strong affinity for the acetylcholine receptor sites that may explain why muscle relaxation occurs also when you use this, because it's occupying that space. And the muscle fibers kind of slow down, and contraction slows down and allows the muscles to relax somewhat. And when that happens, pain is lessened. I found a really interesting piece when you talk about essential oils, and there's always there's often a psychological part, a psychological inference. And I found a really great article where aromatherapy was suggested using helichrysum with people who feel cold when they have received too little warmth and affection as children. So I talked to my client about this a little bit without getting too, you know, too questioning. Um, it is also was also part of this article was that if it was also for people who had no contact with the earth and had become a little too cerebral and have acquired cold feet in their life. Now the client is the fourth child in his family, and by his own admission, he was born really fast after his older sister was born, an albino. He was born like 15 months later to be her helper in life and take care of her. And I wonder if that's one of the that was a part that maybe helped with this affliction of whatever is pinching the nerves, because it's pinching his spirit, was pinching his spirit as a child growing up. Interesting. Um, but he also always wears socks because he tells he told me that his feet are always cold. I used spike lavender, and this was really interesting. You can read more about it in my paper, but spike lavender was also called male lavender, which is in contrast with Lavandula angustifolia, which is referred to as a female lavender. The difference between spike lavender and true lavender is the high camphor and 1.8 cineal content of the spike lavender. And the most abundant constituents for spike lavender are linalool, 1.8 cineal, and camphor. The ketone camphor constituent is used because it's anti-nociceptive. Pain can develop when a nociceptive nerve fibers are triggered by inflammation, and this can be chemical or triggered by an event. In the case of sciatica, it's the pinching of the nerve. The body contains specialized nerve cells that are called nociceptors that detect stimuli that can harm the body, and it passes it along the nervous system to the brain, which detects the pain. Camphor in this formula acts as a counter-irritant and a rubefacient, which means helps undo that. It's mildly anesthetizing, and applying it to the skin produces heat and circulation, and that was one of the reasons I used that in the formula. But I thought that was really interesting. It was so interesting that I decided to grow it this summer in my garden and see how it smelled different and looked different than my other lavenders. Just a little aside, because I like to grow things and connect with the herb or connect with the essential oil, and that just makes my heart feel really good to do that. The next one was peppermint, which was recommended by Lori in the sciatica formula because of menthol, which she covered already. And it's a monoterpene alcohol, makes the GABA receptors excited along the sodium ion channels and results in reduction of a sensation like analgesia, like a little bit like analgesia, like she talked about with her husband. Menthol is also a topical vasodilator and enhances absorption of other topical medications. That's really, really interesting, and I wish medicine would jump on that and maybe use that a little bit better, because it makes medications more effective, topical medications more effective. But in this case, it also makes other essential oils more effective and more absorption in the topical formula that it has been made. It's I thought that was really interesting, and I had not worked with black pepper before this, but I was interested in trying it. And black pepper has high amounts of monoterpenes uh, for tonic, antiseptic, and analgesic properties, and its major monoterpene is alpha and beta pinene, and these are used to enhance penetration of other essential oils, kind of like the peppermint does. Um, Caryophyllene is a sesquiterpene, and it's one of the major ones in black pepper, and it has an anti-inflammatory activity. According to Julia Lawless, it's used for neuralgia, which is nerve pain. Beta caryophyllene also has a few important pharmacological activities, including it's an antioxidant, anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory, with the latter being the most important part of it. More is in the case study that you will get. I used St. John's wort as the chosen oil because it works well with nerve damage. It was an herb infused oil, and it's really good for inflammation or nerve damage. And it's red, and it's actually a beautiful, beautiful oil. The client's response to the formula was not very good the first 7 days, I have to admit, and which really bummed me out. But after 7 days, it began to control the sciatic pain better, enough that the client was able to sleep through the night without waking the 3 or 4 times he was doing so to change positions over and over. Um, the actual cause of pain can be impingement of nerves in the sacral disc, and that will not go away. That will not often go away without surgical intervention. Um, he, I, it seems like this did go away, but I want to say it aside that sometimes, no matter what you look into and the literature that you read about the impingement and the back and the buttocks and the nerve pain, this client actually uh, later fell off a ladder outside working, hit his knee, the patella of the knee fell off, fell into the front of the leg, holding on by threads, had to be mobilized, had to have surgery. That knee, that was the area, the right side, that was the area where the sciatica was from. And when that was worked on and there was surgical, surgical stitching and repair of the ligament, the sciatica seemed to go away for the most part. He still has problems with it, driving long distances or in a certain, in a seat, like in the car for a long period of time. But we didn't look for that. This was just, sometimes you have to look in other places to, and I didn't know to do that, but now I will, after that lesson, to look in other places and not just go with the status quo. Look at the look at the what's happening, um, with emotions, with the mind, with the history, and then look at where else could this be pinching? And I wasn't gifted enough to know that, and but with that accident, a lot of it dissipated, and the client still has the formula. And what I would do differently, one thing I would do differently, is use nutmeg with it. And we were talking about nutmeg or clove to add an extra pain help with that. And so the third bottle that I made, I took 2 drops of peppermint out and inserted 2 drops of the nutmeg. And the nutmeg has alpha and beta pinene and promotes more penetration. So I was trying to get more penetration of that spike lavender and peppermint in there and the helichrysum to help. I think if I would do it another time, I would probably use half St. John's wort and half calophyllum. I really like calophyllum, and it is anti-inflammatory. So I I would play around. I would play around and probably adjust those formulas in that way. Um, but I was trying to find, at that time, I was trying to find the best way to alleviate pain and allow more rest. So thank you, Lori, for asking me to go through that. It was a very interesting time for me to work with that.
Oh, great. I'm so glad. And thank you so much. Everyone, let's give her a big round of applause. Who has questions for Lynette? And I'm going to go back to her formulation. So here is her formulation right here that she made. So Nancy sent you a applause. And let's see what, and we've got more applauses coming here. Melissa, Jackie, Great job. And let's see here if we have any questions. So Zoe, is there any questions for Lynette? Zoe's sending me questions by Messenger. And so Lisa sent you a, you're getting all kinds of applause now, Lynette. That's fantastic.
Woohoo!
So no questions, but you guys make sure you write this down because it's going to be on our quiz, what essential oils she used, and make sure you write the formulation down so you can give it a try. And like she said, if you want to decrease the peppermint by 2, so it'd be 4 drops, and add 2 drops of nutmeg or clove, you could do that. And you also could do half St. John's wort or half calophyllum. Thank you, Lynette. Bravo. We thank you so much.
Thank you. I hope that everybody really gets into that chemistry and don't get scared of it. Um, I think I was scared of it at the beginning, and I've had a fair amount of chemistry, but it's so interesting, and it's so when it's plant related, and it gives you so many ideas of different things that you may use, especially if you look up a formula and you maybe don't have the particular things that is involved in the product. If you know your chemistry, you can find something that will work, and that's what's really cool about Lori's school.
Thank you so much. And I agree with you um, about that because, when you know the chemistry, then you can really play and make some great formulations. So thank you so much, Lynette. And let me see
Thank you.
here. Oh, we do have some questions here, Lynette, maybe for you. Melissa
Okay.
asks, does any oils address repairing ligaments? And she says, in your formulation, can you add something to it to help heal tears in ligaments?
I would think you needed to do for the tears. You would want an anti-inflammatory, um, because a tear has to repair itself. Sometimes it takes surgery to repair a tear of a ligament. Sometimes it can repair itself. But I would do anti-inflammatory. So lavender, um, there's a lot of them that you could add, but you also have to get it down into the ligament. The ligament isn't always, you know, it a lot of times it is kind of right under the skin, but sometimes it's deeper, and that might be harder to get in. So you'd have to have some penetration help, like maybe more black pepper, but Lori might be able to answer that better than me.
Well, I think your response is excellent with the black pepper because, like you said, black pepper moves things and motivates the formulation. And I think with possibly a deep tissue massage, if they can handle that, everybody's different, right? But you possibly could get in there and work that too. And like you said, maybe you would increase your black pepper here to get this formulation more motivated. Another thing I would possibly like, say we're using this formulation, is I would possibly add some cistus to it too, because it's really good for scar tissue and helping with rebuilding like ligaments. So what
Oh,
I would do is I probably would add, go ahead.
good, good suggestion. I completely forgot about cystis, and I used that when I had a knee replacement. That and helichrysum only, um, on the scar to try to heal it and to try to, you know, make it not colloid, where it's going to make a colloid. I think that's the
And
right word.
how did it turn out, Lynette?
It worked. It worked really well. I have pictures of that case study from a long time ago. But yeah, I
Okay.
love cystis. I love cystis with. That's a really good idea. So whoever asked that question, that would be a good one to use.
I'm just going to do this real quick here. So if you wanted to work with ligaments, you could, increase your black pepper, and then you could do 2 drops of cistus. And like Lynette said, it's wound healing, but it helps heal tissue, cistus with helichrysum. Those two are absolutely beautiful together. And then if I were you, then what I would do for a ligament, I think I would maybe do like 10 mil of St. John's wort, 10 mil of arnica. Let's do that. Let's do this right here. Of arnica macerated oil. Okay. And 10 mil of the St. John's wort. Whoops. You guys can see I'm not a secretary. I was not born to be a secretary. Okay, so this could be something that you guys could use for a torn ligament. And like she said, you want to get it in there and you want to penetrate it. So what I would do is I would warm up the carrier oils, and then I would add the essential oils to it. I would put it on a cotton cloth, like you use for a castor oil pack. Put that on it, and then I would set it on the area where the torn ligament is, and then I would put a heating pad on top of that. So that way it could penetrate more and go deeper into the tissue, like Lynette says, and get it in there. So that would be great. Well, thank you, Lynette. That was a great presentation, and thank you for your other wonderful ideas. And Melissa is very happy. Melissa's the one who asked the question.
Thank you for having me, Lori.
Oh, you're so welcome, and thank you for being with us today. I appreciate you. All right, so that was Lynette's formulation there, and we made another formulation. That's what's so great about working in a class is you learn so much about other things, because one thing leads to another, right? So now we're going to go to Zoe's. I'm going to put her picture up here. Zoe's case study is on treating a herniated disc with clove bud, peppermint, sweet thyme, ginger, and lemon. Okay, so you want me to put back the screen and somebody wants to see the ligament one. Okay, before we go on to Zoe. So let me turn my screen off and let me escape out of this. Just a second here. Darn it, it's not letting me. Okay, now let's go back to what I did earlier. Okay, now let me turn the screen on. Can you guys, I'm going to share it. You guys see it now? Does everybody see it? So I'm going to take a copy of it like this, and I'm going to put it in our chat for you guys. Let me see here. I'll put it in the chat. This takes time. My internet is slow. Okay, there you guys go. That's for ligaments. There you go. It's in the chat now, so grab it out of the chat. Okay, so I'm going to take my screen down again, get rid of that. Dang it, just a second, guys. It takes me a little bit here because this thing is not doing what it's supposed to do. Okay, there we go. Now I can put that down and we can go to our next slide with Zoe Pichot. And Zoe, are you going to do this or do you want me to do it?
I can do it briefly, I think.
Okay, so you haven't felt well. All right, so Zoe is a registered aromatherapist and a master herbalist, and she's going to be talking about treating a herniated disc. And I'm going to pop up her study here real quick, and then we'll have our quiz after that. So make sure you stay tuned, and make sure you stay tuned for this because it's a really good case study These gals have done a lot of hard work, and we want you guys to be able to get this information. All right, so there you go, Zoes, and take it away.
Okay, hello everyone. So this was one of my first case studies, I think, when I started seeing clients. And so it was a student who I had met when I was living in Grenoble in France. And she was a very artistic person who loved dancing and loved moving a lot. And except that in 2019, her back went out and she was diagnosed with a herniated disc in her L4 and L5. And she would have relapses very frequently and was having a hard time treating it because even if she stayed active, she was also overweight. And so it just made it really hard because it also added pressure on her lower back. And in this case study, what was really interesting is that we also focus a lot on the emotional aspect. So her self-image and her confidence. So also to use the essential oils and the blends and the time that we spent together to show her that she can take care of herself and that she's worthy of that. And she's worthy of taking time down and putting her body's sensations first. And so listening to her pain, and also realizing that she's not um, limited to that pain, or that pain's not doesn't have to be forever the same. She was she's Moroccan initially, and so in Grenoble we could have quite cold winters with snow, and so the cold really also would strike up her pain. So in all of her lower belts, because she also had like bad period pain that we worked on with another formulation, and her kidney problems, she had a lot going on down there. And so cold would be really bad for her and strike up her pain. So she would use a lot of the times a heating pad to get through it and Tiger's Balm. So that's why we chose the aromatic treatment. And the essential oils that I chose were mostly to help promote heat and circulation in that area, and so to warm up and help those muscles relax. So it was 6 drops clove bud, 6 drops peppermint, 15 drops helichrysum, 15 drops lemon zest, 12 drops sweet thyme, and 12 drops ginger essential oil. Um, so you got a lot of spicy things. And Lori already talked about these essential oils pretty well. I just used apricot kernel oil. We could have used St. John's wort or arnica. I think St. John's wort for me is really great um, for nerve pain. And Lori knows a lot about that now and can probably tell you more. So then I advised her to apply this blend to her lower back where her disc was herniated and where her pain was, and to self-massage herself every evening. And then I would do a reflexology treatment with the same blend once a week. Um, so here the massage, I talked about the massage and so why it was interesting to use that kind of application. So to really stimulate the proprioceptive receptors of the skin, and to be able to kind of get into those acupuncture points and to relieve the pain and to assist the movement of blood, lymphatic flow, um, and to gently stretch the tissue, and also just for the essential oils to really come into be able to penetrate the skin and work even better. Um, and so then the essential oils I use. So then reflexology also can really help because you can really touch all the body systems by going through the reflex points on the feet, on the hands, or on different parts. But this was with the feet. Um, and it was kind of a way to, she didn't appreciate back massages from other people. She was fine self-massaging and she loved massaging other people, but she was uncomfortable with that. So it was a good way for us to connect um, and to kind of address that without it being too invasive for her. So the first essential oil here that I talk about is peppermint. So you already learned about the alcohol menthol. Um, and so peppermint is really used, it creates that kind of analgesic effect, and it's used for acute and inflammatory pain. So it seemed like really perfect to reduce the inflammations and to also kind of bring that cooling effect when there was too much inflammation. But like Lori said, it can also be kind of warming because it numbs the muscles. So it's, and the amount that I put, it wasn't gonna cool her down too much. Then clove essential oil with the eugenol, beta-caryophyllene, eugenol acetate, um, has a lot of antiseptic and analgesic properties. And so it was also chosen for its anti-inflammatory effects. And the natural sesquiterpene beta-caryophyllene is a major plant volatile that's found in large amounts of essential oils of many different spices and food plants. And so it's found in clove, oregano, thyme, black pepper, and cinnamon. So that's interesting. Um, since Lynette was also talking about using black pepper, and then there's thyme that's also used in this formulation. Um, and so it had the analgesic, anti-inflammatory and antibacterial, and it was to help relax the muscles and the patients. And so then lemon, like Lori said, was added to kind of uplift and so make it nice and yeah, really give that kind of heartwarming, that kind of yellow color that it brings you to when you smell it. That kind of recalls the sun too, because this was in winter, I think. I'm sure. And it's also really used for the kidneys, and so we were kind of applying it on the kidneys. So I thought, well, we're not focusing on our kidneys right now, but it's definitely important to have that in mind. So if we can find an essential oil that also supports the function of her urinary system, I thought that would be interesting. And then we had sweet thyme, um, that was chosen because it has linalool and possesses anti-inflammatory effects. And it was chosen to reduce inflammation and increase circulation to the lower back and push heat along with the essential oils of ginger and clove. So it's not like spicy red thyme, but it still is kind of a spicy herb. It still is aromatic. When you eat it, you can tell. And then ginger, obviously you know it for its very warming properties. And so ginger has like an extensive amount of properties and a lot of different chemical constituents and has been used in so many different herbal medicinal traditions. But here it was especially for its warming effect. And she also liked the smell and she liked spices, so that was something that was nice to her too. Could you go down, please? Perfect. Um, mm, and then helichrysum, as we already talked about it, is really good for increasing circulation And so it helps the body repair tissue by increasing the circulation and bringing movement there. So you're going to use it when you have a lot of bruises too, and if you have any scarring. And so it's very soothing and also helps, as Louise was saying, with trauma. And so I thought this could be also a good way to accompany her. And so we did this for a month. And it was, and what was kind of interesting is that during that month, she started getting, she started having some sciatica pains too. Um, and so I advised her to do some stretches for the sciatica pains. So to add that to her daily routine, to do that in the morning and at night, and that was really effective. She was relieved of her sciatica pain, um, and that really helped her. And then, mm, and so it was really a big exercise for her to also just take the time to massage herself and breathe through the stiffness and the pain. And so in that way, it really helped. And she became more light. At the end of the trial, she really was um, like just had more energy to take care of herself, and so to move and to do the things that she loved and to not be afraid or pay the backlash of like if she danced a lot or if she moved. And so she was able to do like some great projects, and a dance video, and did some really great things. And also we really talked a lot about her being overweight and how a lot of times she was mostly focused on that, because of her self-image and lack of confidence, and trying to just fix that when she had the possibility to already have less pain and love her body and what it was able to give her and what she was able to do with it. And so she then realized that, oh, well, maybe she can heal her hernia completely. Um, so then her focus now lies more on feeling better than on losing weight. And so she keeps on using those tools. I haven't heard from her in a while, but I know that she still dances a lot. And so I think she's doing better. Do you have any questions?
Good job, Zoe. Very good. Let's all give Zoe a round of applause. Um, this is a great case study. And yes, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask Zoe. Put them in the chat and she'll see them there. You got lots of round of applause there. Good
Thank
job.
you.
And what I'll do is I'm going to go up to the formulation again so you guys can see it. And I think, Lynette and Zoe both, and all of our students, they really look at the emotional and the mental aspects of the clients. And as you see, they both have. Lynette was looking at the inner child of her client, and Zoe's looking at her and seeing about her self-image. So this is important as aromatherapist to do this. So Zoe, are there any questions for you in there?
I don't see any for now, but if any pop up, I can just answer them in the chat if not.
Okay, great. All right. That sounds perfect. Okay, I'm going to put this down and we're going to go to our quiz, and that way you guys can have some wonderful books, and one of you guys is going to get a consultation. So I'm going to put my screen back up. We want to remind all of you guys that today during the webinar, and you can see inside the material box in our events and our things, we have my book there if you want to purchase it for $15 for all attendees instead of $18.95. And now we're going to go to our quiz. And what is the sciatic nerve? What is sciatica? What is a herniated disc? What multiple effects does helichrysum have on inflammation? What were the essential oils that Lynette used for sciatica? What were the essential oils that Zoe used for a herniated disc? And what two essential oils did Lynette and Zoe both use? So our first question is, so just answer in the chat, what is the sciatica, not sciatic, sciatic nerve? I have sciatica on the brain. So put it in the chat so that way you get a chance for that consultation with me. Okay, Sabina answered. Keep on going. Nancy answered. Woohoo, you guys are rocking. I'm telling you, you guys are rocking it. Another Nancy, she answered it too. I'm not saying the answer. Melissa answered it. Okay. Let's see some more because you guys want to get that consultation and those free books. Okay. Liko, she answered it. Giliva answered it too. Woohoo. This is great. Keep on going now because we only have 7 questions. And then tomorrow we're going to have our call about our aromatherapy because we have a brand new fast track program. Oh, Kathleen answered. Super. Okay. Quite a few guys have answered, so I'm going to go on with the answer right now. Oh, she's adding more. The sciatic nerve is the largest nerve in your body. It is also the major nerve in your leg. Okay? All right. So, what is sciatica? That's our next question. What is sciatica? Oh, more. Rhonda answered, Melissa answered, Nancy answered, Vicky answered. Good job, you guys. Keep it up. So, what is sciatica now? What happens when you have sciatica? Whoa, Sabina, good job. Excellent. So while you guys are getting those answers, tomorrow at the same time, we're just going to have a nice aromatherapy question answer. You guys can ask me any questions you have. It'll be at 1 p.m. We'll send you the link. And also, we will be talking about our new fast track aromatherapy program. So that means you can go from 0 to being a professional aromatherapist. And then at this time next year, take your exam to be a registered aromatherapist like Lynette and Zoe. And Liko, she answered, and Nancy answered, and Shelly answered. Woohoo! You guys are rocking and a rolling. And Zoe sending me more. Melissa, keep it up, you guys. If you guys want to win that free consultation and a book, Jaliva, she sent one too. Super. Okay. Kathleen, and Nancy. We've got a couple Nancys, so keep hearing me say Nancy. So here I'm going to stick it up here. The answer: sciatica represents a debilitating condition characterized by pain within the sciatic nerve distribution or an associated lumbar nerve root. And you guys are saying all the other good stuff too. Rhonda, Vicky, the other Nancy. We've got 2 or 3 Nancys. Good job, you guys. We have compression and inflammation, sciatica causing symptoms in lower back and extremity. It's a pain caused when the sciatic nerve is compressed, can be pressed at different locations. Good job, you guys. All right. So now, what is a herniated disc? What is a herniated disc? And just by participating, you guys get a free book bundle. So just by participating, and then we'll choose our winner. Okay, Lico, painful condition. Okay, great job. Melissa, good job too on yours. I'm so glad that you guys are participating. Wonderful, Vicky. Good job. Keep on going. We just have 4 more questions. And remember, you can always sign up for the 30-minute free session too that you can have with me. And Nancy, our other Nancy, and our other Nancy. Keep it up, you guys. And Rhonda, wow. Okay, so we've got answers like disc may bulge or be inflamed, causing compression or irritation of nerve. And Jelva, 2, the area where pain is located between the discs. All right, so let's go here and let's see. Herniated disc occurs when the disc starts to break down due to prolonged stress in the spine, causing the inner nucleus to herniate out. You guys have said this in all many different ways. The herniated disc fragmented material compressed on the nerve roots behind the disc space, leading to pain, weakness, numbness, and changes in sensation. And what multiple effects does helichrysum have on inflammation? What multiple effects? And Shelley put 2, which she learned from Lynette. There can be leakage, bone spurs, inflammation. Good point. And Sabina talked about herniated disc. Fantastic. You guys are doing good. Really good. So what are the multiple effects does helichrysum have on inflammation? Good job, Melissa. And Zoe's keep sending me more. Shelley sent it too now. Good job. Couple more. Then I'll answer it because then after that we only have 2 more questions, or 3 more, excuse me. Fantastic, Vicki and Shelley. All right. So our answer is helichrysum essential oil has shown that the anti-inflammatory. It has multiple effects, including inflammatory enzyme inhibition, free radical scavenging activity, and cortical-like. Good job, and Liko and Rhonda and Jaliva. Wow. Keep it up. This is going to be tough for us. We're going to have to just put all your names in the hat for sure. What were the essential oils that the Lynette used for sciatica? And Nancy did too. And Sabina. So, okay, what? Okay. And Liko, fantastic. Kathy, fantastic. Okay, so what were the essential oils that Lynette used for sciatica? Oh, wow, someone even sent her formulation. It's fantastic. Okay. Good job, Liko. Good job, Melissa. Good job, Andrea. Uh, good job, Nancy. Sabina, fantastic. You guys are rocking it. You're remembering it. And Veronica, too. Super. Keep it up. And Zoe and Nancy. I'm sure we're going to have Nancy here now again. And Kathy, great. You guys are even getting the carrier oil in there. That's awesome. You're remembering this. Keep it up. You won't ever forget her formulation, will you guys? It's great. Lynette, look at all the people your formulation is helping, going to help, and more. And thank you, Shelley and Vic and Jaliva. Okay, so it's helichrysum, spike lavender, black pepper, and peppermint. And Rhonda and Vicky too, and Shelley. Woohoo! All right. Zoe just keeps sending me more messages. So what were the essential oils that Zoe used for her herniated disc? I hope you guys have enjoyed this class as much as I have been enjoying it. It's been great. And I love going through Zoe and Lynette's case studies because I learned so much from that. You know, we're all students, we're all still learning, and I love it when our students send us case studies because Sue and I learned so much from it, our curriculum manager. And um, oh, and Liko, wow. Okay, so now we're getting the ones from Zoe. So Liko sent that one, super. Nancy did, great. So far, you guys have them all correct. Melissa, yes, super. All right, and Jaliva, she even put the carrier oil. Great. Nancy, okay. Vicky, and Vicky said, yes, it's been a great learning. Oh, Vicky, thank you so much for being with us and doing this with us. We really appreciate it. And Sabina, too. Okay. We're really, and Nancy said, oh, and she added the apricot kernel. You guys are remembering all the things. That's what's awesome. Keep it up. Rhonda, you did too. Super. And Shelley also. Wow. Just remember these formulations. And of course, we'll be sending you the case studies in PDF files so that way you'll have them. And here are the essential oils. Sweet thyme, peppermint, helichrysum, ginger, lemon, and clove. And we just want you guys to, now we're going to have any, and what two essential oils did Lynette and Zoe both use? Now we're up to that. And then after that, we'll have our Q&A, and then we'll have it where you guys can, we'll pick our winner. So I'm writing everything down because Zoe's typing and I am writing. So, okay, keep it coming. Now we just need the two essential oils that they both use together. Excellent, Liko. God, you guys are participating so well. Keep it up. Oh, good job. And Sabina and Shelly and Rhonda, keep it up. All right. Let's see if Zoe adds any more here real quick, and then I'm going to put them up here. So you guys all got this right. Peppermint and helichrysum. Woohoo! Those two. Those two are the ones that they both use that were the common denominators. Excellent. And now Zoe sent me Rhonda and Nancy too. All right. So how many of you guys have any questions for me? Oh, and Mona too. She said helichrysum and peppermint. Veronica. Wow, you guys really hit that one hard. Super. Keep it up. Okay, so does anybody have any questions for us? And while we're doing the questions, we're going to pick the winner. The winner for the $300 valued. You'll have 1 hour with me consultation, and then you'll have a 30-minute follow-up. And so it's normally a $300 value, which is, and oh, great. And Shelly says, my first class since my car accident in March, and I understand everything. Oh, congratulations on feeling better. And Liko says, it's so helpful to listen to the reasoning behind choosing the formulas. Yes, this is what's so great about doing case studies, and our students are, you know, we help them do that, and we teach them how to do it, and we give them the information to help them do that. And Zoe has been she has had her case study in the AIA and a bunch of our other students, and Lynette just sent hers to the International Journal of Aromatherapy. She sent 4 of her case studies to them. And so you can be a author also, and it gives you recognition for what you've done. And more people will see what you've done and understand that you are an expert in your field. So it's an important thing, case studies. And then just you see the results that you get with your clients and how much better they feel. So that's why it's so important. The case studies are a very important part of school, and we build you up to that. We teach you all the things, just as Lynette and Zoe, we build you up into that so that way then you can do your case studies and know what you're doing and through our school. So far we don't have any questions or answers. I mean, questions, and I'll do the answers. So just don't forget, you can get my book, and we will send everybody today who participated. You all will get a book, and if you're out of the United States, we'll send you the PDF file. And now we're going to have I don't know why, where's my, I usually have a winner thing. So our winner today, great question. Jaliva said, she said, Lori, I'm not sure if you talked about when it's time to do surgery or does sciatic heal itself. Normally, if it's just sciatic, it usually heals itself. And then if you take proper care of it, it'll heal up. Now, if it's caused from another existing condition, such as a herniated disc, or as Lynette was saying, they felt it was from a ligament and they felt it was also coming from the knee, and she hadn't thought about that, then sometimes you have to have the surgery. But when you do that, just remember you can use your essential oils. Like when my husband had a herniated disc and he had to have surgery on it, right? And so we put helichrysum on the area before they did the surgery, and then we diffused essential oils in his hospital room, and I was able to sleep in the room with him. So we applied those to the area, and it healed up beautifully. He doesn't have any kind of big scar or anything from it. Um, I can't say that his back is really good. I wouldn't say his back is good at all, in fact. But again, as I stated before, he's not any kind of exercise. But he does have he still has some sciatica. He does personally, but I don't think he has never felt that his surgery was really done well. And I've told him that over and over, and he went back to the doctor, but the doctor said it was fine. And I think he should have got a second opinion. So I think you can heal from it. Here's another question. In case of the PRP knee treatment where the doctor says not to use any anti-inflammatory, would you would could they be applied? Now, Zoe, Zoe had PRP on her knee, okay? And we have had our curriculum manager, Sue, has had PRP on her shoulders and also in her thumb joints from the same doctor here in France. Oh, Kathy would like to speak. Sure. Okay, Kathy, let me turn your sound on. Where are you, Kathy? I'm trying to find. Zoe, can you turn Kathy's sound on?
I think I'm unmuted. It said on my side. Can you hear
Oh,
me?
okay, great. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, Lori. Hi, everyone. I can speak to sciatica pain and herniated discs. I've had traumas to my back since I was 11 years old. And when I was 25, I had two babies. I sneezed over the washer, blew out a disc, and the pain shot down my right leg and out my foot, out my toes. I actually went to the neurosurgeon, and at that time we knew nothing about essential oils or anything. I was nursing a baby. I worked through it. He told me, as long as you can walk, I will not touch your back. I have been in situations where I have been down. I could not stand up, sit down, lie down. Okay, but I have never had it done. I do have paresthesia, decreased sensation from hip level down, and that has been constant. And he knew about that, but I'm still walking and I'm keeping going. So now, with everything I've been learning from Lori, I have been using heliochrysum there, and it makes life a lot better. And I think after today, it will be even better. Does that make
Oh,
sense?
thank you so much for that, Kathy. Yes, it does. And Kathy, that was 40 some years ago because isn't your
That
daughter
was
40?
yep, 49 years ago this month. 49 years. And I've
49
had
years
other,
ago. So yeah, you
yes.
kept going and Kathy is a busy girl. She does yoga. She works on her farm. She doesn't stop. So you're right. Your
And
doctor was right. Keep moving.
yes. And and between the chiropractor and a gentleman called Superman with myofascial release and myofascial stretching, which when you look at the chiropractor, she was doing some release with her fingers on that video. But I go for an hour and a half treatments on my shoulder, but he's also worked on my lower back. And I'm still going.
And you're doing so great. Now
So
you can
thank,
do child's pose in your yoga.
yeah, and that's because of my shoulder that was injured, with
Yeah.
that shoulder blade was stuck. Yeah. So
So
thank
you
you all
come.
very much for allowing me to speak.
Oh, thank you, Kathy. Thank you so much. And let's see, how many times a day do you recommend applying the essential oil treatments? Lico said. I would apply them 2 to 3 times a day. Okay. Then Shelley asked, how much soluble do you use in your spray? I used 1 teaspoon of soluble. I put it inside the bottle. Then I added the 12 drops of, and it was in a 1 ounce bottle, added the 12 drops of peppermint. Normally you stir that together, like, stick a chopstick down in there and stir it. Or if you want to stick it in a little tiny small bowl first and then pour it into it. Then you add the water and you mix it up again. So if you want to put it in a little bowl and do that, and then pour it into your bottle. That sometimes is the easier way to do it. I was just always squirting the stuff in and then just mixing it like that with like a little chopstick type thing. So that's how you do that. And then that was, let me see here. Thank you, Vicky, for being on with us. I really appreciate it. Oh, the PRP. Um, the PRP we didn't get to finish speaking about. The PRP, Zoe, did you do any essential oils when you had your PRP done? In your
Um, well, remember you came with me when I had it done.
Right, and then we left the next day for the US.
Um, I don't I don't think we put, well, I wonder because I don't remember them recommending that to me, well, saying that I couldn't use any anti-inflammatories.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but they pretty much just said that it was going to swell a lot and I just had to stay off of my feet and let it swell and then it was going to go down in 24, 48 hours. Um, and so I don't think we put anything on it right after having it. But I think later I used helichrysum on it a little bit, or
Mm-hmm.
helichrysum hydrosol
I was thinking maybe you use the hydrosol is what I
and
was thinking.
cystis hydrosol. I would
Yeah.
do that, but really, I didn't after having the PRP, I didn't have any more problems. It was just
Mm-hmm.
I just did a lot of physical therapy and proprioception and just to gain confidence back, to be able to do things on my feet and with my knee and to be able to trust my knee. That's really what's important. And then whenever I felt it, me, it was my internal ligaments of the knee that would keep having I forgot the word that you say in English. Um, oh, um, well, anyway, they would keep like, oh, how do you say it? Just getting all hard. What?
Tight or constricted or
Yeah, well, it's like, when you have what I had initially, and that then led to the to some of the tear. Anyway,
oh yeah,
um,
of your
when it
miss.
goes out,
Uh-huh.
you can't walk on it anymore. Um, and I would sometimes get that sensation when I would do when I would do a certain movement, but then it would bounce back really quickly. Like I could always still walk on my knee until till this day.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really then the maintenance of using the muscles around it. And so I don't have that much inflammation. I can have pain, but and so yeah, Lako says also they don't want you to use any anti-inflammatory with PRP treatments. Not for the first
Mm-hmm.
24 hours after receiving injections. Yeah. Yeah, which makes sense because the inflammation is you need it there in that moment.
Yes. That's the reason why you don't use an anti-inflammatory. It's because they're spinning your blood, they're injecting it back in, so that way your immune system will respond and it will start rebuilding whatever it is, the tissue that you're trying to rebuild with the PRP, cartilage, whatever it is. And we've had quite a few of our friends, a 95-year-old friend who had it done in his shoulder and it worked beautifully for him. Sue, our curriculum manager's done it, Zoe's done it, and they've all had good results. But in the first 24 hours, they didn't put anything on it because of that. And then later on, they did after a couple days. So that's what we would suggest. And Zoe just used hydrosol, cystis, and helichrysum is what she did. So good questions. Good questions. Okay, and then Liko asked, I said just twice a day I would do the treatments unless it's an acute situation. You just got your sciatica, then I would use it, like 3 or 4 times a day to relieve the pain. So that's what I would do. And okay, so let's go to our winner now. Our winner today is, drum roll, Sabina. Congratulations, Sabina. You need to send us an email at lori@lorihargis.com, and we will set up a time with you. And everybody else, everybody who put in a comment, you get a free book and booklets, which is Essential Detox and Using Common Sense, and my book. So, and if you already have received my book, please share it. So we'll be sending all that to you guys, and we'll also be looking for your address. So Zoe, put your address in our chat. I mean, my address, it's Lori, LORRIE, @lorihargis.com. Please send me a message with your address if you are in the United States, and I will send that out to you, and then everybody else will receive a PDF file. So thank you guys so much for participating. You all rocked and did such a beautiful job, and you will receive my book and my booklets. So our fast track program Q&A is tomorrow, September 10th at 1 p.m. Eastern time. It won't be as long as this, and we can't wait to have you guys there with us. And we will start our program. You need to be signed up by September 14th, and it starts September 19th. So you can ask us any questions about aromatherapy you have, and then also about our new fast track program. Zoe will be teaching the botany, and she will be teaching part of the anatomy. We will be having hands-on. We will make formulations when we get to all of the systems of the body. So we will show you how to make formulations during that time. It's going to be a lot of fun. We can't wait to have you guys with us, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. So let's make sure that you keep in touch with us in our Master Essential Oil class group, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel and our Essential Oil and Flower Essence for Emotional Healing group. Join our Common Sense community. Kathy, Lico, a bunch of you guys who are here today with us, who participated, Nancy, are in our Common Sense community. Please join us there for our once a month group workshop, and our next one's going to be on the stomach, and we do acupressure and we do flower essences. So that way it gives you another healing modality to use with your essential oils. All right, you guys have a beautiful day, and thank you for staying with us for so long today. We appreciate all of you, and don't forget your essentials, use your common sense. And thank you to Lynette and Zoe. Au revoir.